President Trump is now calling for an investigation into crazy Nancy Pelosi. It's about time. President Trump calls for investigation into Nancy Pelosi's insider stock trading. Says Pelosi became rich by having inside information. She ought to be investigated. President Trump called for an investigation into Nancy Pelosi's insider trading, saying she has the highest return of anybody practically in the history of Wall Street, and that she got rich with inside information. President Trump took questions from reporters during a congressional bill signing ceremony on Wednesday, and he responded to new legislation that would bar members of Congress from trading stocks.
You know, Nancy Pelosi became rich by having inside information. She made a fortune with her husband, and I think that's disgraceful. So in that sense, I'd like it, but I'd have to really see I study these things very carefully, and this just happened. So I'll take a look at it. But conceptually, I like it. And what I do think is Nancy Pelosi should be investigated, because she has the highest return of anybody practically in the history of Wall Street, save a few. How did that happen? It happened by she knows exactly what's going to happen, what's going to be announced. She buys stock, and then the stock goes up after the announcement's made. And she ought to be investigated.
Corruption at the highest levels. That's how that happened. And because no one holds them accountable, it makes these people know that they're invincible as a result. Who's going to stop them? President Trump responds to crazy Jerome Powell's refusal to cut rates for fifth time since December. President Trump issued a preliminary response to Jerome Powell and the Federal Open Market Committee moments before they announced a decision not to cut interest rates for the fifth time since December. The FOMC announced on Wednesday afternoon that it decided to maintain interest rates at the current level, as President Trump puts massive pressure on Fed Chair Jerome Powell to cut the rates. This is despite quarter two GDP numbers showing excellent economic growth.
So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
Yeah, it just came out.
Hernandez said it about 3.1 as well.
3.1,
3.2.
This came from us?
Yes. I don't know who does that.
You're including the Martin renovation. You just added.
Our entire capital.
Yeah, you just added in a third building. Is what that is. That's a third building.
Well,
including
no,
the
but
Martin building.
it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
It's part of the overall work.
Notably, Trump announced a deal with Japan recently where they've agreed to invest over $500 billion in the United States, of which the United States will receive 90% of the profits, Trump said. Reciprocal tariffs of 15% will also be imposed on Japan. Earlier this month, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said in a cabinet meeting that he estimates the United States will take in well over $300 billion from tariffs by the end of the year. Days later, new budget data showed that tariff revenues as a share of federal revenue had more than doubled, and tariffs created a surplus as opposed to a $71 billion deficit in June 2024 under Biden. U.S. customs duty collections for fiscal year 2025 had already topped $100 billion. For the first time in history, with several months still to go. But Jerome Powell and the FOMC say this is not enough. President Trump responded on Wednesday during a congressional bill signing ceremony after signing a bill to reform VA home loans and expand mortgage assistance for veterans. He slammed too late Jerome Powell, saying, quote, "He's done a bad job."
What do you say to analysts who worry that lowering interest rates would actually lead to inflation?
Well, if that happens, then we just raise them. What you do is you lower them, and let's see if there's inflation. Right now, there's no inflation. Everybody thought there would be. All we have is billions of dollars of cash pouring into our country from other countries that took advantage of us for many, many years. You know, they were taken advantage of. We were like the stupid people that didn't know what they were doing. They took advantage of us. Other countries, friend and foe. And by the way, the friend was oftentimes much worse than the foe when it comes to trade. So if that happens, what you do is you raise your rates and you do what you have to do to stop inflation. But we're keeping the rates high, and it's hurting people from buying houses, and we don't want that. If for any reason that happened in a year or two, if there's some signs of inflation coming back, right now there's not. We have a great thing going. I think we're going to have the richest economy you've ever seen. We have money coming in that we've never even thought about. at numbers that nobody's ever seen before. We have a deal with Japan where they're going to pay us $550 billion. We have a deal with Europe where they're doing $750 billion plus $400 billion plus $300 billion. And many other countries, it's likewise, relatively, those are two big ones, but likewise. So we have a lot of money coming in and we have no inflation and we're very strong and we should be lowering the rates. Each point that this gentleman keeps up costs us $365 billion a year. Think of that. 1 point, $365 billion. If you bring it down a point, we save 365. We should be the lowest interest rate, and we're not. We're 38, number 38, because of the Fed. It's all because of the Fed. He's done a bad job. Now, he's got a meeting today, but I call him too late. He's always too late. Even if he does it today, probably won't. I hear they're going to do it in September, not today. For what reason? Nobody knows, but Europe, as you know, cut their rates 11 times in the last short period of time. But the good news is we're doing better than anybody anywhere in the world. Nobody's doing anything even close to us, even with the higher rates. The higher rates do affect housing, though, because people can't go out and get a loan or refinance their house. And it would be nice to have them be able to do that. That would be just another check of a box. That would be very important.
On the surface level, these people are obviously petty and they're stupid, and in their TDS, they're willing to hold the entire country hostage and not do what is right and do what is necessary because they don't want Trump to look good. But at the end of the day, it's against you because it hurts you, it hurts us the most. Cancer, acne rosacea, multiple sclerosis, and rheumatoid arthritis are 4 different diseases in 4 different areas of medicine. What if they can all be treated with parasite medication, and that turns out for these diseases to be true? What if I told you that if you had a pet or ate sushi, you are more likely to have parasites? This means that a lot of our ailments that we experience every day are caused not by environmental issues, but by parasites as well. This is something Big Pharma does not want you to know about. I know many of us check off many of these boxes. This is why Purge is offering their new liver cleanse products for all of you out there that need to clear those toxins out once and for all. PurgeStore.com offers everything you need to cleanse and detox your body. Powerful enzymes and probiotics, 15-day colon cleanse protocols, liver cleanse, and of course, the parasite cleanse. Right now, if you go to PurgeStore.com and use promo code DREW, that's DREW, you will get 20% off your entire order. Use the link in the description below, PurgeStore.com, and support the Gateway Pundit today. The Gateway Pundit is supported by the people, we the people, that is you, the American people. We thank you for your support. They begged for that beatdown. I am grateful. Cincinnati City Council member openly celebrates vicious mob assaulting white people while most of the country has erupted in outrage after an angry mob of black people savagely assaulted 2 white people in downtown Cincinnati over the weekend. One prominent local politician has the exact opposite reaction to the story. Victoria Parks, the Cincinnati City Council's president pro tem, thinks this wicked mob was 100% justified in its actions. In fact, she openly celebrated seeing these 2 poor tourists getting beaten with an inch of their lives earlier this week. She responded on Facebook to users that stated, "They didn't have to do them like that. He was obviously drunk." Victoria Parks responded by stating, "They begged for that beatdown. I am grateful for the whole story." Well, it's because the victims were white. That's why these people feel so emboldened to come out and make statements like this. They don't fear cancellation. They don't fear losing their jobs. They don't fear any type of public backlash because they're a protected class. In their minds, they feel invincible and they can say whatever they want against white people, because if you don't like it, they can just call you a racist. Speaking of violent criminals, illegal alien arrested in Kentucky for murdering heroic teen boy who attempted to stop the migrant from raping his mother. Look at this freak. Gildardo Armando Martinez, 36-year-old, has been arrested for the fatal shooting of his girlfriend's son, Luis Lopez. when the teen tried to defend his mother on July 20th. Lopez's young sister was also assaulted with the firearm by this illegal alien. The Department of Homeland Security said in a press release on July 20th, Amandor Martinez arrived at an apartment shared with his girlfriend, Alda Lopez, early in the morning and attempted to rape her. After she fended him off, the illegal alien assaulted her by biting her left hand, right armpit, and injured her arm. Her 15-year-old son, Luis Lopez, tried to intervene and was shot by the illegal alien 3 times and murdered. The criminal illegal alien then assaulted Lopez's daughter with the firearm. Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin stated that an ICE detainer has been placed on the killer. Well, obviously the son did the right thing. And this illegal alien? We shouldn't waste any money on detaining him, keeping him in prison, or even deporting him. I think legally and lawfully, according to the law, he should be sentenced with the death penalty as a result. That seems appropriate. That seems sufficient.
My name is Drew Hernandez for the Gateway Pundit, and you have been on Watch with Drew Hernandez. I'll see you guys on the next one.